Made on Zencastr.
Because Zencastr makes every stage of the podcast production and distribution processes so easy. All the details are in the description. Hello and welcome to Fit for My Age, the health and wellbeing podcast from Abeceda, on which we don't tell you what to think, but we do hope to make you think. I am Michael Millward, the Managing Director of Abeceda. Today I am learning about alternative health from Alesha Cumpton, the co-founder and CEO of Bindu Institute. Alesha is based in Barcelona in Spain. I have been, but it's been quite a while ago. If I ever get the chance to visit again, I will make use of my membership of the Ultimate Travel Club to arrange my travel. That is because, as a member of the Ultimate Travel Club, I get to travel at trade prices on flights, hotels, trains, holidays, all sorts of other travel-related purchases. You will find a link with a built-in membership discount in the description so that you, just like me, can travel at trade prices as well. Now that I have paid some bills, it is time to make an episode of Fit for My Age that will be well worth listening to, liking, downloading, and subscribing to. One that will also, I hope, be worth telling your friends, family, and work colleagues about as well. Good morning, Alesha.
Good morning.
How did you end up in Barcelona?
So I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona. I did my MBA in Switzerland and then landed here in Barcelona about 10 years later.
Tell us a little bit about why you moved from a corporate world into setting up Bindu Institute.
I started my career in corporate, as you said. I have an engineering degree and I was in aerospace before my MBA. After MBA, I was working in Europe, traveling around, working with country managers, and I always really drew upon my yoga practice while I was studying, while I was in my corporate globetrotting and traveling and working the long hours that you often do in corporate careers. My yoga practice and all the things that I had been learning was like a passion of mine for many years. I was very much in health and wellness. Even as a teenager, I was leading step aerobic classes at the YMCA and very much subscribed to holistic, healthy lifestyle and always very curious and learning more. So after my MBA, I went to India to do my yoga teacher training, just to really deepen my knowledge and awareness, more for a passion of mine. And then eventually that passion grew into something so much more that it came to the point when I realized it was either I leave corporate and really follow my heart and my desire to help people and to share the practices that I had learned along my path, or I would have needed to stay in corporate. And it just, for me, the choice was really clear. I decided to go for it and started out with another venture and had a lot of really beautiful lessons learned along the way. And then when I was doing my advanced teacher training in yoga, my now partner, Suzanne, shared with me her vision for an Institute of Holistic Health. And when she shared with me that idea, it just landed so viscerally in my body. It was a full body yes, like I want to be part of this. So that's how, the journey to Bindu came about for me.
When you say holistic health, what is it that Bindu does?
I see Bindu as very much a bridge between worlds. And for me, it's not just symbolic, it's very embodied because I'm bridging many worlds with Bindu. Bindu's bridging modern science and ancient wisdom practices like Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, indigenous studies, Eastern philosophy and meditation. At the same time, myself and my partner, Vanina, who's another co-founder with us, we're coming from corporate. So we're also bridging the organizations and the corporate world with wellness and well-being. So there are a few different bridges that are in play within Bindu, within the ecosystem of Bindu. It's really about connecting in a way that invites not just breadth, but also depth based on all of the faculty that we've chosen. They all really, truly embody this in so many ways. Each of them can probably teach in a handful of our study areas, because they've also on their journeys have been looking at different disciplines across the landscape of health.
So in many ways, Bindu is taking all of the ideas and then seeing which works best for any particular individual. But before you can do that, you've got to understand them all, and you've got to be able to put them all into the different stages of someone's life, someone's health, and work out what is going to be best for an individual.
Absolutely. A lot of people that I come across, they think it's either Western medicine or the, let's say, quote unquote, complementary or alternative practices. In our philosophy, it's both ands. It's not one or the other. It's really using the best of both worlds at any given point. And like you said, in people's lives, what worked for them 10 years ago may not be working now because people are changing. We're this beautiful, changing human.
We are evolving.
Yeah, it's evolving, it's changing, especially for women.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of conversation now around perimenopause and menopause, and the gap that is there in the Western science is really being revealed.
We refer to indigenous medicine, Chinese medicine, as an alternative. And yet, what we call modern medicine is probably 100, 150 years old, and what we call alternative medicine goes back thousands of years.
Absolutely.
It's the modern medicine that in many ways is the alternative, but it's the one that governments fund, and industry funds hospitals and doctors and all sorts of things. And it's also, when we talk about the evolution, and you're saying, yeah, well, lots is changing around menopause. It's only recently that men have started talking about andropause and how the aging process affects them. And part of this, I think, is that we are, and the caveat is, although people are still dying of ignorance, still dying of embarrassment because they're too embarrassed to seek help. But we are, I think, starting to see a little bit of a trend towards people being more open and more willing to discuss health in general.
Absolutely. As we bring these gaps in the system to light, people are more encouraged to share their experiences. And then as people share, it invites more sharing and more openness around it, which is really important. It's essential. This is the first step, is always awareness, right?
Yeah. But awareness is something that we still get from, I think, conversations in bars and hubs and from comedians or something that a celebrity has said. And then you sort of think, oh, yes, I know. In the UK, when His Majesty the King, Charles III, made his announcement that he had got enlarged prostate, the number of men who were going to the doctor to be examined rose. It became okay to then sort of say, yeah, I can do this as well. I can get this checked. And you need more people in prominent positions to talk about their health as well, I suppose. The issues of aging in general and what happens as we age. We don't get an awful lot of education about it until it hits us.
Absolutely. Especially in our society, we tend to glorify the youth.
Yes.
The maiden archetype and strapping men. I think for men, it's a little bit less so. I mean, you brought up some very relevant points that are still very much hiding underneath the surface, that people are afraid to talk about. But I think when we think of beauty and energy levels and sustainability, like everything is, our entire society is really built around youthful ideals. When you look at the indigenous cultures, it's really the elders who are revered and respected and honored for their experience and their wisdom and what they offer to the table as well. And I think in our Western society, we haven't yet really shined a light on that. And all of the things that come with aging as well are looked on as something to be embarrassed of or to not talk about because nobody is talking about it. But actually, it's happening to everyone, And if we can be more open and vulnerable and transparent I think it'll serve us in many ways.
I agree with you. The alternative to not aging isn't that attractive, really. As you age, you do build confidence, and so you are less worried about the things that people in their youth worry about. What will people think about me? When you get older, it's like, I can do what I want. I don't have to worry about what you think, because you work out who is important to you and the people who matter. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter to the people who matter. It's an interesting philosophy that in some cultures, age is revered. I suppose part of that might be because fewer people reached great age than now do because of the advances in medicine. But the big issue, I think, as we get old is staying fit and healthy as we age, rather than reaching a great age and simply spending your days sitting in an armchair in front of the TV. You want to be able to do things.
Absolutely.
What I'm learning from what you're saying is that there's more of a chance of you being active in your older age, if you have a more holistic approach to your health. Correct me if I'm wrong, but holistic health means that when you do something, when you make a meal, you're thinking about how that meal will impact your health. When you look about an activity, it's how will that activity impact your health, rather than waiting until you're ill to think about your health.
Absolutely. When you wait until you're ill and then you turn to, the quick fixes, the Band-Aids that we can apply, the various Band-Aids.
And those are very often just simply dealing with the symptoms.
Exactly.
Rather than the root cause of what it is that has made you ill.
Yeah, so the holistic health approach, it's really about being more proactive about your health and understanding how all the different factors contribute to each other. That when you have a symptom, you can put a Band-Aid on it, and maybe that can help create some ease with that symptom, but it's not addressing the root cause. And the root cause oftentimes is not a singular branch. It's very complex. It could include your mental state, the psychology. It could include your nutrition, what you've been eating, as you mentioned. It could include your activities. It could include your stress levels. All of these factors play a role in our biology and the way that we show up in the world every day. It's not something that just happens overnight. It's something that is built over time, over days, over weeks, over months, over years of habits that we've created for ourselves. And when we have more understanding of how all of this works together, then we can understand like which levers we have to play with, to adjust, to fine tune, to refine, to create a more harmonious state of health that gives us the longevity that we're looking for, where we can be active, fit, and what we consider healthy later in life. But these actions can't be taken once symptoms arise. They need to be proactively informed on our daily decisions, our daily choices that we make need to all be reflective of the life we want to live in the future.
There's a book called Tuesday with Morrie, which is and also been made into a film. And one of the things that I remember from reading that book is that in order to decide how you want to live, you have to decide how you want to die. Almost like, how do you want to spend those later years of your life? Deciding how you want to die impacts how you will live. The decisions that you make. If you are saying, I want to smoke, I want to drink alcohol, I want to smoke all sorts of drugs or whatever, that is going to influence how you eventually die. And yet, if you want to have a healthier older age, it's the decisions that you make in your teens, in your 20s, in your 30s, that will impact your ability to live out your retirement and eventual death in the way that you want to.
Yeah, I love that.
It sounds so logical, because we are like a car. If you don't service your car maintain it, it will not last as long as if you look after the car. And yet there will be people who will pay more attention to their car than they will to their own health.
Absolutely. It's so true. I think people often take for granted the bodies that we have, you know? Ultimately, it's about vitality. How much energy and vitality do we want to have? The majority of us, I would say, we're making choices based on things that have been externally fed into us.
Big corporate advertising campaigns.
Yes.
And television programs and radio and all sorts of things. In the UK, for example, if you want to have a television soap opera or even a radio soap opera, the chances are the point at which all the characters come together, the location, is going to be a pub. And yet nobody ever gets drunk, nobody ever develops alcoholism, but that community centre is very often the pub.
Interesting.
And yet alcohol, if it was invented today, it would probably be banned. But that's my soapbox.
Yeah, I mean, and this is culture, right? It's culture that's been shaped over many, many years that we're born into. And when you're born into this culture, you don't really know anything else. But I find it fascinating that they're saying that the new generation is really less interested in alcohol. I don't know if it's true in the UK, but that's what they're seeing in many other countries.
Yeah.
That people are going to bars less. They are a bit more healthy.
Part of it is driven by cost. Part of it is driven by health education. But Bindu Institute is not just about holistic health and people getting treatments. You're an educational establishment, aren't you? An educational institute, and you're providing the training that will help people understand their health in a holistic manner in more detail. Please tell me some more about the sort of education services that you provide.
Yeah, so at Bindu, we have a few different core offerings. The one that is really foundational is our master's program. So it's a master's degree in holistic health sciences. And it's really aimed at anyone who's either really wanting to deep dive into holistic health to really understand fully this full spectrum of tools that are available to us, like I said, within the modern science and the Eastern, more ancient wisdom practices. So this could be anyone from a person who just has a natural curiosity and wants to really dive in for them personally and for their family, or more specifically, we're also looking at people who are already working in health in some way. So whether you're a yoga teacher, or if you're a personal trainer or a coach or a therapist, or maybe even a medical doctor who are looking to expand your set of tools. So even, let's say, a medical doctor, when I speak to medical doctors about their training and education, most of them have very little around nutrition, for example, or meditation, or the yogic sciences. So these are beautiful tools that can be really added and complement a toolbox for people who are already working with clients in some way. Yes. So we have 9 different study areas that we cover, and it's very comprehensive. So we're covering biomedical and clinical sciences like anatomy and physiology, nutrition, naturopathy, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, as well as psychological and developmental studies like somatic experiencing and psychology, women's health, human development, neuroscience. And then we're also working with the traditional and contemplative sciences like yogic science, Eastern philosophy and meditation, and human consciousness. The idea is that you get a very comprehensive overview the first year of all of these study areas with online learning and also in-person practicum trainings that we're doing twice within the first year. And then after that first year, you can receive a certificate of higher education in holistic health, Or you can continue on, or you can continue on for your full master's, in which case you pick a specialization pathway, which eventually can create a career trajectory for you.
Yes.
And then with that specialization path, and it's an extra year or two, depending on the pathway. Some pathways we're working with partner institutions, like nutritional therapist is one, which we're partnering with an institute in the UK called ION, the Institute of Optimal Nutrition. So when you choose that pathway, you graduate with your master's in holistic health sciences and your license as a nutritional therapist from ION. So you get kind of a double a double certification
So
hand in
this is not
hand.
a novelty masters that someone might do just out of interest, although they could just do it out of interest. You have built a career pathway from the qualification as well.
Exactly. Yeah, so the first year could really be open to people who are interested in really understanding more. And then when you want to go for the full masters, that's more if you really want to take your career to the next level, or maybe you're in a transition point and you're looking for a career change into something
Mhm.
that aligns with holistic health, that you're so passionate about it that you want to turn this into a career. So then you could continue on for the
Okay.
masters.
I have had numerous conversations with general practitioners, primary care doctors, who have become dissatisfied with the conventional modern approach of you come see me, you tell me what the symptoms are, I give you a tablet to deal with that. And are now taking a much more holistic approach to medicine, which involves a longer consultation with each patient, and also making sure that uh, the the patient sees the same doctor over a period of time, rather than relying upon what has been
Mm,
written on the screen. The doctor actually gets to understand and to know the patient, and that I think is the relationship part of the medical care is also an important part of it, and you're covering all those sorts of things in the masters as well. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I think this is really important what you're bringing up, because the system that our medical care is in, I heard a stat that the average patient gets less than 7 minutes with the doctor,
Yes.
which in 7 minutes, like, what can you really get down to? You can't even build trust in 7 minutes. Like, it's really unfortunate that that is the circumstance. So there is a lot that needs to be done at the systems level as well. And part of what we're aiming for is to really work with the medical professionals, the medical doctors who see that there is a need for change, and they want to educate themselves more fully in this more holistic context. So, but maybe they don't know where to go, or there's so much out there that can be considered, woo woo, or you're not sure if it's credible. So, this is why we wanted to create something that is very much rooted in science, and really have a medical board and have the clinical trials and have everything backing, have the peer review, so that medical professionals also feel like they can trust the education that they receive from Bindu. And then they can go back and do their work to really be the leaders of system level change, because this is something that we see a huge gap in, and we do believe that there will be a change in the future, and
Yes.
it's something that's coming and that's on the horizon, and so we're here to help
Brilliant.
prepare people for that and give them the tools they need.
If someone is interested in participating in this master's course, when does the next course start?
Our inaugural cohort starts in September.
September 2026.
Yes, this year. So doors are open for enrollment. We already have people enrolling, and the first cohort, it is going to be a smaller group, more curated, so that they'll have more direct access with the faculty as well. So it's quite interesting to be part of the first group. We have a lot of exciting things unfolding.
Great. And a lot of the learning will be online, but there will also be face-to-face sessions, and those will be in Barcelona?
So those will actually be in Switzerland, in
Oh,
Champéry in the Alps. We are working with a beautiful retreat center there. So the in-person immersions will be, as we have a small group the first year, we're able to make it more like a retreat like setting, which will be very intimate and also be in a stunning location with views of the Dent du Midi mountain range in a very tranquil, peaceful setting. So you'll be receiving on the educational side and also be filling up your energetic cups and nourishing with nature and spaciousness as well.
brilliant. Sounds like a great educational experience. I hope it's a great success. But for today, Alesha, thank you very much for sharing information about Bindu Institute. It's been fascinating. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, if anyone is curious, they can always look at our website, binduinstitute.org.
Yeah, great. We will put a link in the description. Thank you. I am Michael Millward, the Managing Director of Abeceda, and in this episode of Fit for My Age, I have been speaking to Alesha Cumpton, co-founder and CEO of Bindu Institute. You can find out more information about both of us by using the links in the description. At Fit for My Age, our aim is proactive positive aging. Knowing the risks early is an important part of maintaining good health. That is why we recommend the health assessments available from York Test, especially the annual health test. Performed annually by an experienced lobotomist who will complete a full blood draw at your home or workplace, the annual health test provides an assessment of 39 different health markers. After hospital standard tests are carried out in a UK AS accredited and CQC compliant laboratory, you will be able to access your easy to understand results and guidance to help you make effective lifestyle changes anytime via your secure personal wellness hub account. There is a link and, as you would expect, a discount code in the description. If you are listening to Fit for My Age on your smartphone, you may like to know that 3 has the UK's fastest 5G network with unlimited data, so listening on 3 means you can wave goodbye to buffering. There is a link in the description that will take you to more information about business and personal telecom solutions from 3 and the special offers available when you quote my referral code. That description is well worth reading. I'm sure that you will have enjoyed listening to this episode of Fit for My Age as much as Alesha and I have enjoyed making it. So please give it a like and download it so that you can listen anytime, anywhere. To make sure you don't miss out on future episodes, please subscribe. You'll probably also want to tell your friends, family and work colleagues about Fit for My Age as well. Remember, the aim of all the podcasts produced by Abeceda is not to tell you what to think, but we do hope to have made you think. Until the next episode of Fit for My Age, thank you for listening and goodbye.